Hello, everyone. It's Shalora back here at the Convention Center, and I'm so excited to show you the very best of PAX West.
Hi, I'm Cole. I'm the creative director of Team Crescendo. All right, Memoria Wake is a isometric, Souls-like inspired, action-adventure-like inspired game. It takes place in a dream world where our protagonist is traversing through environments that are sculpted off of his memories, but then augmented and distorted by his interpretations, kind of like how nightmares appear in our dreams. So you'll see in the demo behind you that this first level takes place in the early childhood of his life. So the enemies are based off of critters and creatures and toys that he was afraid of. One of the mini bosses you'll run into is this giant distorted nightmare version of his neighbor's cat that he was really afraid of as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
And future levels will non-linearly go through different versions of different time periods within his early life so far, up until college, where he dropped out just a few weeks before waking up in this dream.
Oh, so he's in college, but kind of reminiscing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 4 levels, and we hop around time-wise. We do start in the early childhood, but level 3, for example, goes backwards in time instead of going then to the weeks after college. So.
Oh, okay. So are all the levels based around this toy aesthetic, or does it kind of progress?
It progresses. So the toy aesthetic does disperse over time. It might reappear in some areas, but the aesthetic largely changes from level to level. Coherency-wise, though, it's all very consistent in that they're all based off of interpretations of his memory. So stylistically, the levels still look the same going forward. They're just not as whimsical and childlike.
Yeah. I did really like the art for all those things. And I like the shading and how it looks. Can you tell me about the art and the artists behind it?
Yeah, so our team is composed a bit interestingly. We all do have main roles, but also we all really like collaborating and developing with each other because we are all very multimedia oriented.
Yeah.
For example, even though I'm the creative director and I handle a lot of this game's dialogue and communication between the roles, I was originally onboarded as a musician, so I work a lot with the musicians, but our artistic team is comprised of, I would say, 3 main people, and then also we have a good other 3 people in our team helping the artists all the time. But the main splash art, for example, is developed by our 2D artist, Emma, who also does the character icons, all of the icons within the game that are 2D, and a lot of the concept art for our game. But then also our 3D artist, Stanley, helps a lot with concept art and character design for enemies and main characters and NPCs. So there's just a lot of collaboration between everyone on handing drafts back and forth on how characters are designed, the ideas behind them.
I know it's sort of faux pas now to relate every indie game to a different indie game, but I thought it looked and kind of felt a bit like Tunic.
Yeah.
What were some of the inspirations behind the game?
I think visually, Tunic was a really big inspiration for us. We are trying to make the gameplay very different from Tunic, though Tunic itself is very fluid, and we do want to make our game fluid as well. But we also get a lot of inspiration from Death's Door and Sekiro, and then also at PAX recently, we've gotten a lot of feedback that it's very similar to Bastion, which I have never played.
Yeah, never played.
I don't think I've even seen footage of it before, but I mean, inspiration, we want to make sure our inspiration is passionate. Of course, we don't want to be copying games, but...
Yeah. This could be gone, because I think you read it already, but I noticed on one of the trailers there was some kind of personal retrospection or introspection, is that what it's called? Where it seems like the character is telling you who those people are instead of the game telling you who those people are. And then in one trailer it was different, so I was curious, do those personal touches still kind of exist? Because I liked it, I don't know.
So it actually relates a bit to the story of the game. So because this is a dream world, everything is based off of our protagonist's memory.
Right.
But there are some things in the dream world that aren't related to his memory that he finds a little bit confusing, especially these journal pages that aren't written by him.
Oh.
And that is kind of the plot of the entire game, is that there is someone else in this dream, and you want to figure out who that is.
Yeah, our inner saboteur.
Yeah, it's a semi-mystery,
Yeah.
But it is a big part of the game, and it relates a lot to the character's history and kind of this idea of either suppressing memories or learning how to grow from past mistakes over time.
Yeah. In terms of story, what sort of themes are we going to find in the game?
So very introspective, very much coming of age and kind of retrospectively looking at the past. And even though this isn't a real world, resolving past issues within this dream world to better your own character. Because we're a large team of people who are about the same age as our protagonist, we funneled a lot of our personal experiences into him. So even though someone like me who's very extroverted is very separate from this introverted protagonist, I still feel like a lot of my personal story is funneled into that. So we're hoping that it's a character that everyone can relate to, even if there are very different personality traits, because we want to make this game a more human experience than something that is just like purely personal, even though the entire story is personal.
Yeah. Are there any like accessibility features in terms of like, because people like parry games, but I think it's kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah.
I think for your game, it looked like there's kind of like a flash or something like that kind of like indicates that there's a parry that needs to happen. Do you have any like tools in mind?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked me this question because I am really bad at the game.
Yeah.
No matter how much I play it, I'm just not great at isometric games.
Yeah.
And we want to experiment both with accessibility and difficulty. Currently, I would say that this demo is definitely not the easiest version. But we want to make versions that are easier for people like me and then more challenging for people like our lead developer who is constantly tuning these enemies to make them as complex as possible.
Yeah.
And we do want a lot of complexity in our game, but we also know that you can't just pick up a game and get there. So we're hoping that people would be able to play this game on multiple difficulties. Well, their first time they don't feel like they're being excluded from this game because it's too difficult or too confusing or too overly complex, like visually as well. So we're currently experimenting with it, so we don't have any clear-cut answers on how it's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's in mind.
It's in mind, yeah.
Well, that's good. Sometimes it feels a little intimidating.
Yeah.
And people are like, I can't play that game. And it's like, actually, maybe you could.
I will say, especially based off of the trailers, if you play it for a little bit, like I played the demo, and even during PAX, even though I've been working on this game for such a long time, I feel like I've been getting better and understanding and talking with the other people on my team. So I want to make sure that we can communicate that better to individual players as well.
Your team's motto is tell stories that resonate, make games that inspire. What do you hope people take away from playing your game?
So, like I talked about earlier, how like we all put our own individual perspectives into this character. We want to make that game that is just inherently human. And I think something that a lot of people wish they could do is like turn back time and undo a lot of mistakes that they've done in the past, and like things that they either saw as like regretful or cringy, that they could undo that. And this is kind of a little bit of a like coping mechanism story where they're doing that in a dream world, but also it all is a dream that you're eventually going to wake up from anyways. And learning that even though you can't change that past and fix that past, that going forward you can have individual accountability and authority to change your life for the better. That's kind of what we want to tell with this story and this game.
Yeah, I think that's like incredibly human. I think people sometimes forget that like those embarrassing things is what makes us interesting.
Yeah, and it's a story that's hidden underneath talking to giant teddy bears and fighting nonsensical creatures. So, yeah.
When can we expect the game's release?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a release date. I can tell you that it won't be this year.
Yeah, that's fine.
And if it's 2026, it's going to be very late on.
Yeah.
But that's the most accurate answer I can give at this moment.
Just don't demon school us.
We won't.
Yeah, where you tell us 2025 and then we wait a whole year.
Yeah, we will always we're always posting updates. Our developer's very passionate on Twitter. So.
Yeah. No shade to demon school. Like, take your time, no crunch. I don't. Yeah. Just to cover my bases. But thank you so much for meeting with me, and
Thank you so much.
I'm excited to play it.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm so glad.
you.